This is What I Learned at Dartmouth, Part 2. And other things will come to mind about what I learned at Dartmouth. But if you've seen some of my other videos, you know that I come from a very modest background. Like, you know, my parents were kind of sort of government workers, grew up kind of sort of in the country. You know, I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. And gosh, for vacations, my family, hey, we had vacations, okay? The taxpayers paid for my parents and my family to go on vacation. That was a part of the government gig my parents had. So we get in the car, drive to New York City, stay at a modest hotel, walk around the city, see stuff. Where else? We drove to Washington, D.C., see the monuments. I have friends now. I never dreamed the vacations they had when they were little kids. When I got to Dartmouth, there was this one kid at Dartmouth. He was 18. He would say, "Oh, it's Friday. My dad's sending the jet up to New Hampshire. He's going to pick us up. We're going to go down and spend the weekend in Florida, come back." And the kid, you know, he's in a dorm room, right? And he had like 10 pairs of Levi's and 10 of those Levi jackets, you know? And he would have them all dry cleaned, right? Hey, so at Dartmouth, I ran into that people with money thing. That was, I didn't know there were really people like that. I didn't know what it was to be able to live with a lot of money. It was just freaky. And you're 18, you never had a job, right? Okay, anyway, so my major at Dartmouth, one of my majors was social deviance through the sociology department. And so I'm taking this sociology course, and it's all about meritocracy. And can you have a meritocracy, which means if everybody works hard, do we all have a chance of getting the same stuff? Okay, that's an interesting question to discuss with yourself or some other people. Okay, so, and then, you know, I'm into making the world a better place, all that kind of thing. So we're coming out of class. I'm all pumped up. I'm thinking, wow, we have good ideas. And through the conversation in this class at Dartmouth with these other 19-year-olds, one of the concepts that came up was, how do you educate everyone equally in the United States so that everyone can live equally, everyone have a chance with the American dream? And we had a conversation about that, and can that happen in a meritocracy? So we're leaving class, and I'm with this very wealthy 19-year-old who grew up in a suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. And he said, well, that educating everybody is just not going to work. And my little hick ass from Columbus, Ohio looked at him and said, well, why? And he said, point blank, he said, somebody has to do the shit jobs. Now, think about that. This boy was 19 years old, and he wasn't the sharpest pencil in the box, okay? Sure, his family had money. Sure, he's at Dartmouth College, but if you got money, that makes it, and your daddy went to Dartmouth College, you automatically get into Dartmouth College then. Pretty much, that's the way it goes, okay? So, he's 19. He didn't read that slogan on a cereal box. You hear what I'm saying? That boy at 19 had been trained that you can't educate everybody because some people have to work at McDonald's. Some people have to drive the trucks for DHL. Some people have to twist the screws at General Motors. You don't want everybody knowing how nice it is to take all your stuff to the dry cleaner and get on your plane and go to Florida for the weekend from New Hampshire in the middle of winter. Okay, so here is my point. I work at home because wherever I work, whoever I work for doesn't want to do what I do. I can manage a bank. I can run a huge Nordstrom's department store. Fine. You think somebody loves that and they're going to give up their life to run a $1 million Nordstrom's in California? Sure, maybe they love it, whatever. The point is whether you're twisting screws at General Motors or if you're making a couple of $100,000 a year managing a Nordstrom's in a fine location in California, that is a shit job. And a shit job is something that you don't really love to do, and that somebody will pay you money to do it because you're bright, you're intelligent, you're creative, and it's I think I've heard it termed as 20th century slavery. And the key, that main term, I think it's Alex Huxley that said something like, well, what you do is you create a slave, and then you create the slave's dreams through however you can, and then you just make the slaves think that they're happy. Think about that, okay? So, what I learned at Dartmouth is well, hey, I just said it. At 19, I met someone who had been trained to understand and to spread the word to a few people that you can't educate everybody because somebody's got to do the shit jobs. So I'm asking you to ask yourself, what kind of shit job are you willing to do, or do you want to be happy, loving yourself, doing your own thing, making the world a better place? That's all I have to ask of you. Adios.